what was that catalyst that made you go from an employee to an entrepreneur?
In my entire career as an employee, I only had 3 employers. One was when I apprenticed. Second was my employer in New Zealand, and third was my employer here. So when I look at the lives of those business owners that own the businesses, it was almost like, yes, there was money, you can see their lifestyle, but it's more of the freedom to really make that decision. There are certain decisions in life that allows you because you own the business. So the transition was, if I'm given an opportunity, I would like to jump into owning a business. The biggest hurdle is you're in the US. You know, you really have to have the money to start the business. And what kind of business do I have to start with? I like food. I really like food. I love to cook. So I'm like, so the very first passion was, given a chance, I would like to own a restaurant, a really nice high-end restaurant. That was my vision. But then I started asking around. It cost a lot of money. So I'm like, probably not. So very, cut story short, I attended a Saladmaster presentation which involves cooking. And the guy that was doing the presentation, he seemed to be having so much fun. Like he wasn't working, like he was just doing it. And so at the end of the presentation, I kind of asked him, I said, you look like you're having fun. Do you make a lot of money? And he, instead of telling me yes and no, he opened his briefcase and he showed me a binder, and it was a photocopy of all his paychecks. And wow. they were really good pay. And then I look at the dates. It was every Monday. And I'm like, do you get paid every Monday? And is this how much you make every Monday? And he said, uh-huh. And I'm like, oh boy. And then my head started. I was running 100 miles an hour. So that's how it all started. And then, well, he was not interested in me. So one of the biggest lessons I learned from that day was, don't ever prejudge, because I was new in America. I was new. And then I was actually just renting a room because I didn't have relatives, nothing. I was by myself. It's kind of like when I went to New Zealand, I was by myself. So I didn't want to, I was guarding my savings. I was guarding my money. And I'm like, I don't want to venture into renting a house right away or the park. So I had a landlord. So I rented a room and he was my landlord. So he wanted to get the food processor as a free gift. So he asked me to be one of the guests, because to get the hosting item, he has to have the 3 guests there, but only, 4. That was the requirement, I believe, at that time. So he said, I only have the 3 guests here. So he knocked on my door and said, I need you. Just sit there and pretend you like it. So I became the 4th guest to qualify for the hosting item. So anyways, the presenter, he was going around asking people like, what do you do? And most of the 3 ladies that were there were all nurses. They were all Filipinos and they were all nurses. And so when he asked me, he said, so what do you do? I said, I work for a company. It's an accounting firm. And he said, okay, so do you drive? I said, no. Do you have a car? I said, no. And he wasn't interested. So he left his business card to the 3 other ladies. Well, one of the ladies kind of pushed the business card on the side. So I stole it. I stole the business card. And then I asked the landlord, can you take me here? So, yeah, that was my story.
So I'm just thinking, and this is so true. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this series about the truth about success, because, it's terrible actually that you see a lot of people that get written off, bypassed. People just look at you, go, and they write you off, and they don't know what they're walking past. They could have a diamond in the rough and they don't know. And I really believe everybody was born successful. but we've just got to clean you up. There's just got to be that diamond in the rough there. And so somebody passed you up, and just think about this, and you've gone on and built a magnificent business. And I'm just trying to do the rough calculation. You've probably done in retail sales, I'd go somewhere in the region of about $60 million in retail sales. And he just wrote you off. Wow. That's a lesson to be learned. You know, you never know. My mom used to say to me, be careful how you treat people on the way up, because you meet the same people on the way down. You know, you must never think that you are better than everybody else or anybody is better than you. I mean, that's just amazing.